In the year 1803, the United States was still a young nation, barely older than a single generation. A country filled with ambition, yet confined by borders that pressed against its future. And then, in one extraordinary deal, everything changed. Almost overnight, the United States doubled its size through a single transaction, the Louisiana Purchase. A deal so inexpensive, so unexpected, that historians still call it the greatest land bargain in recorded history. But why did France sell? Why did America buy? And how did this unlikely exchange reshape the destiny of an entire continent? This is the untold story of the Louisiana Purchase.
We cannot afford to wait. Opportunity favors the bold.
Before diving into negotiations and politics, we need to understand what Louisiana truly meant in the early 19th century. It was not just the modern state we know today. Back then, the Louisiana Territory stretched from the Mississippi River all the way to the Rocky Mountains. Over 2 million square kilometers of untouched land, rivers, plains, and sprawling wilderness. Inside this enormous territory were the seeds of future states, 15 of them. And at its heart was the Mississippi River, the most important trade route in North America. Whoever controlled the river controlled the economy of the region. At the southern gateway stood New Orleans, the busiest and most influential port in the young American Republic. For the United States, New Orleans wasn't just another city. It was the key to survival. Yet incredibly, this vital port remained in foreign hands. Louisiana's story begins with France, which claimed it in the late 1600s during its era of exploration. But over the next century, war after war drained French resources. By 1762, France handed most of its North American territories to Spain in the aftermath of geopolitical conflict. For decades, Spain quietly administered the region. But everything shifted when Napoleon rose to power. Driven by ambition, he envisioned rebuilding a French empire in the Americas. In 1800, through the secret treaty of San Ildefonso, Spain returned Louisiana to France, setting the stage for dramatic change. Still, Napoleon's dream of an American empire would collapse far faster than anyone expected. The answer lies thousands of miles away, from the fields of Louisiana to the Caribbean island of Saint-Domingue, known today as Haiti. There, a massive uprising led by self-liberated people challenged French authority. France sent tens of thousands of troops in an attempt to regain control, but the mission failed disastrously. War, disease, and logistical chaos devastated Napoleon's forces. Without Saint-Domingue, a jewel of the French colonial economy, Napoleon's entire plan for a Western empire crumbled. Louisiana became strategically worthless, an enormous territory with no profitable purpose. At the same time, Europe was on the brink of large-scale conflict. Napoleon needed money, fast. He needed resources to rebuild armies, fortify borders, and prepare for another showdown with Great Britain. Selling Louisiana would accomplish two goals at once: raise millions in cash instantly, prevent the United States from potentially aligning with Britain against France. For Napoleon, the territory was a burden. For America, it was a dream waiting to be seized. On the American side, the greatest concern was not Louisiana itself, it was New Orleans. By 1803, nearly 60% of American agricultural goods traveled through the Mississippi River. If New Orleans closed its port, the U.S. economy would collapse. President Taylor Jefferson feared exactly that. So Jefferson sent two diplomats, James Monroe and Robert Livingston, to negotiate with France. What they expected was a discussion about one city. What they received was one of the most shocking offers in diplomatic history.
France is prepared to offer the entirety of Louisiana to the United States, the entire territory.
In April 1803, French officials surprised the American delegation with an astounding question. Would you like to buy the entire Louisiana Territory? It was a moment of disbelief. This was not a city, not a port, not a strip of land. It was a continent-sized territory, stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to the Canadian border. And the price? Just $15 million, equivalent to roughly 4 cents per acre, unimaginably cheap. The envoys didn't have authorization to buy such a massive region. Jefferson himself wasn't sure whether the Constitution allowed purchasing foreign land at all. But the opportunity was too great, too rare, and too important. Within days, the United States accepted the offer. On April 30, 1803, the Louisiana Purchase was finalized. With one signature, the United States doubled its size. New borders stretched westward farther than citizens had ever imagined. The nation now had access to countless natural resources, fertile farmland, and the mighty river that powered its economy. But the purchase also had long-term consequences. It laid the foundation for the creation of new states and new communities. It strengthened the belief that the United States was destined to grow, a belief later known as manifest destiny. And ultimately, it transformed the U.S. from a coastal nation to a continental power. This single purchase shaped everything that came after: exploration, settlement, economic growth, and America's emergence on the world stage. The Louisiana Purchase was more than a transaction. It was a turning point, a moment where ambition met opportunity and reshaped history. France sold Louisiana because Napoleon needed money, influence, and stability in Europe. The United States bought it because its leaders saw the future, one where the nation could expand, thrive, and rise beyond the Atlantic coast. The deal was cheap, decisive, and transformative. A single moment that unlocked a new chapter for an entire continent. And that is why the Louisiana Purchase remains one of the most extraordinary bargains and boldest decisions in the history of the modern world.